Hi, everybody. Happy Memorial Weekend. This is your girl, Kalisa the Diva. I hope you're doing good. For anybody that struggles with being a good person and dealing with toxic family, it can be extremely draining. One, because it's not like regular people that you can just walk away from. But I've noticed, especially in black families, it's like black women are supposed to take everything to be that scapegoat, to be that body for that pillow for whenever someone needs you, but you're not supposed to have any feelings. You're not supposed to be a human being. You're awful degraded based on your looks, your weight. It's as if people don't see what you do or have a good heart, but they only care about what you're lacking based on the world. And it's okay in the world because your family is your backbone. They can shield you. Well, you don't have to be like the world, just like Christian. But what about when they measure you also against the world? And it's like you're in a gauntlet of forces. One side is the world and your family is on the other. And that dysfunction, it creeps into your soul. I mean, how do you get through it? As people always say, I'm a bubbly person, but really deep inside, I feel broken. There's a saying that I thought about, I think I made up years ago. It's about being in pieces. When I've never been whole, always been broken. Does anybody else feel broken? It's like my eternal job is not to be a wife or to have my own life. It's especially you're a scapegoat if you're that overweight person family, because there's a lot of people in your family, but it's like an overweight person. You're not seen as attractive. You're not seen as a viable spouse or a career woman. You're just there to cook, clean, be a maid, and there to check on people, to make sure that the same people that reject you, that you're there for. Sorry, just my tears kind of messed up my makeup a little. For any of those people that are silent and have silent tears, this is for you. At a certain point, you just take and too much and said, I'm not going to be that role player. I'm not going to be here that's always just that person that checks on somebody. They haven't been checking for me. If you got 2 feet, I'm a big proponent of parents. No matter what they treat you, your parents are there for you. At a certain point, if they don't treat you right, you can love them and love them from a distance, right? It's not my job, just because I'm not married, to be there to look after them, to be there, to be that punching bag, to be that everything. If you can walk and talk and your parents aren't disabled, or your elderly relatives can walk and do for themselves, you don't have to be there to be their eternal checker. You deserve to have a life. Because my grandma always said, when the old school elders, and that's like 2 generations ago, when they were elders and they cared about you, and their whole life was for the family. But then the new set of them, their children were kind of in that 60s and 70s where it's all about themselves. They do the kind of traditional roles, but you can kind of see how it got away from being about family to themselves. And anytime selfishness creeps up into you, there's two types. Selfishness is when you just always do for yourself. But then there's self, is when you walk away and you're hurt so much that you don't have a heart attack, you got to walk away. You got to walk away. Does anybody have that toxicity, that dysfunction in their life? A dysfunction in their family that runs so deep to your core that sometimes you can't even sleep at night, and people say, hey, you need to go check on this person. You need to do this. You need to do that. But what about for me? I'm the one dying inside, because my grandma always said, the leaning tree does not always fall first. And it's just like so much stress is being put on Generation X. is that they were the first generation where there was a dysfunction in the family, the breakdown of the black nucleus family. Drugs came in. The 60s and 70s was all about me, and we're the product of that. Because you see a lot of self-centeredness in that, and that crept into you because no longer they weren't caring about that family unit. Like, they had a family because the Joneses was, but they weren't really there for you mentally, spiritually. And it just bothers me when you give everything, and it's like you can't have a life, you can't have a boyfriend, you can't do that. Your job is to be, whenever they need you, to be there. And it doesn't matter how they treat you. You could be a emotional punching bag, verbal punching bag. You can be talked down to where you don't even want to function anymore. And sometimes you just want to say, you are enough. Erica, you are enough. Go and live your life. Your life is not here to be your mother's replacement. Your job is not here to be a maid. Your job is not here to wait on the sidelines in case they need you as a butler. I deserve to have my own life at one point. I deserve peace. To know that I'm something, not reminded of my flaws and my weight and all that. And just sometimes, that's why I haven't posted much. It's just that, my struggle with emotional health, I think that maybe somebody else is going through that too.